Okay, so for this particular scene here, what we're gonna do is uh, David wants a little bit more headroom on Morgan, so we're gonna just bring the shot down so we can see his hat, and then we're just gonna go ahead and warm up this picture. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So we're gonna kind of give it this warmth, and I'm just gonna pull a little bit of color out of this whole image. So as I'm warming up, I'm gonna start desaturating. Try to get that sky grayish. Just for a second here. What I'm matching here is this is a still of a color correction that we set that's kind of like the basis of matching all the other shots to. So I'm kind of matching densities and skin tones and stuff to make it seem like they're all in the same area here. As we see here, the skies are totally different, but we're just gonna try to get it to that same kind of tone to make it feel like it's in the same area. So that's what I'm doing right here. So I'm gonna keep that correction there. And here, Brad, the headroom is a little too low, so we're gonna go ahead and move him up. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this shot here. As we see at the beginning, Morgan's head is kind of buried in the frame here, so we're gonna bring him down a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and reframe this shot. And there at the end of the shot, he just kind of, there's a lot of headroom there. So what I'm gonna basically do is put a correction in, which I'll do just in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and recolor this and make this warmer, which is what David wants this scene to look like. And we're gonna take out some color from it. So we're gonna desaturate this just a hair. Trying to make sure that we take the blueness out of the sky there, give this warm late afternoon feel. So I'm gonna match this up from, and as we can see, the skies are slightly different, but we just kind of want to give it that same feel and just make sure it's not like a blue sky kind of day. So we're gonna go for that color there. And now what we're gonna do with the shot is right at the end where we see there's a lot of headroom there, we're gonna take some of that headroom out. We do this, I'm gonna put a dissolve in here. We'll do a slow transition. So when it finally hits that shot, we'll get the headroom back to somewhat more decent level. So that's what we have there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take the color correction of Brad. Give him the proper amount of headroom there. So now as we see the two shots cut together, the same blue shots that we have now look like warm shots together in the late afternoon. Take the same correction here. So now when we hit Kevin's shot, we're going to have to change him quite a bit. So for his particular shot here, we're going to lose some of this headroom here. And I'm going to have to take give him a little bit of density. So there's a little bit more harsh shadows on him, like we have here. And we're going to have to fix that sky. So again, what I'm going to do is just take some color out. Start giving it more of a warm feel. So again, the whole trick will be to kind of paint the sky so it gets really close. And then from there, because that'll be the hardest thing for us to color correct. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll start affecting the rest of his face and the skin tones. So what I'm going to do is just pick out, when we see this arrow moving up here, I'm just going to kind of latch on to the skin tone here, and I'm just going to kind of, we can see how it just kind of latches onto that color. And I'm just going to kind of take him away from that pink thing that David doesn't like. I'm going to kind of give him that kind of color there. Maybe just take a little bit more pinkness out of the face. So when we get to those shots there, it'll look like that. Now also the thing that we might want to do with this shot is he looks maybe a little dark in the shadow areas. So again, everything kind of looks the same, but it looks a little dark in the shadow areas. So what we'll basically do is now we'll go ahead and put a window up here, just right on his face. Just gonna kind of do something like this. And I'm just going to brighten up his face, just like this. You can see it kind of moving. Just take a little bit of that harsh shadow, just a little bit up. We'll soften it up just a little too. So we can see the difference here, just like this. So we're just doing a small, little bit amount of detail here, just to make things match a little better with all the faces. So here we're going to take, we're taking that last correction of Brad. And it just looks a little dark in the shadow, so we're going to go ahead and bring that down, bring that up. Give him just a little bit more headroom. When they have these handheld camera moves, sometimes it gets a little hairy for them and the headroom gets a little tight. Sometimes it gets a little too much. So we'll go ahead and reframe that here in Telecine. Now that we've color corrected Kevin Spacey's shot here, we've done a lot of work on it with a window and with secondary correction, altering the color of his face. I can now use that correction and sizing on the same shot when it comes up later in the film, which is like right here. So we can just pop that correction right in. I don't have to start from scratch. You can see the difference here of the way it looked like on the negative and what we're doing to the film now, to kind of give it this feel of this pretty dark, late afternoon kind of feel that David wanted for this particular scene. And again, when I see Morgan's shot, because it kind of looked like Kevin's, I'll pull up that same correction and I'll just kind of tweak it to make it look good from here. But I can use that as a starting basis for particular shots. So when I see shots that kind of look the same as other shots, I can kind of pull those same corrections up and get a good start, a head start on those shots to save some time. So now we have Brad's shot here. That's going to be a little difficult because this shot was very red to start with. sort of get the blue out of the sky. He's going to be even a little redder, and we're going to have to come in through the secondaries to try to pull this color out. Let's start from scratch on this shot here. So here we're working on Brad's shot. I'm going to try to get the sky to match first. And we'll start working backwards from there. And we can see here, by getting the blue sky to a more neutralish color, I'm going to have to add red, add some warmth to it, which his face was already really red, so his face is even going to get redder here. I'm going to have to kind of come in through the secondaries to eliminate that as much as possible. So we're just kind of taking some color out of him. I'm going to take that pink, which David hates, out of his skin tone. So I'm going to look for a correction of Morgan's. And sometimes, even though we're looking at the same shot, the corrections doesn't work because, you know, the time of day might have changed. It could be maybe take 14, the lighting totally could have changed. So we're still going to have to adjust the shots. So here we're going to, the shot that's coming out very, very warm, we're going to go ahead and take some of that warmth out. Get this a little bit more neutral. And again, with all these shots, it's almost always we're going to have to desaturate. Here, this particular shot, we're going to have to add a lot of warmth to this to get the blue out of the sky. Again, we're going to desaturate this shot. And hopefully this is all cut together. If the lab needs to reframe anything, then they have to make an optical, which is what we saw on that one shot of Brad, where there's 2 frames of Gwyneth cut in there. That's like a kind of like a film effect, where if they have to do any kind of sizing changes, they're gonna have to make an optical from that, and that's when you see like that little color difference that we saw there. And they also don't have the capability of isolating colors like we can here, where we can just kind of just pull colors out of their face like we did with this one shot. They don't have the ability to do this, where you can kind of just desaturate just his face or change the color of it. As we can see here, you can go through all the different colors. You can make his face green if you wanted to, but this is things that we can do electronically that, you know, normal when you're making a print at a lab, you know, they don't have the ability to isolate colors that way. So it allows the directors to just have that much more creative freedom when they come into this process of telecine.